For Kurt Becker, the fact that high school basketball in Effingham County is so well established made writing a book about it very time-consuming. The biggest challenge I had is that basketball has been played in this county for more than 100 years, Becker said. Becker, author of Hoops, The History of Boys High School Basketball in Effingham County, delivered the monthly local history presentation Thursday at the Effingham County Cultural Center and Museum. While the Altamont native talked about how he developed his love for basketball, he spent more time talking about the voluminous research that had to be done to make the book a reality. Other books have been written about local prep basketball, and Becker said he used those books as reference material for his own tome. But the well-known race announcer said he spent more time poring over microfilm newspapers at Helen Matthews Library in Effingham for an unfiltered view of a history that began 102 years ago. The benefits of doing original research enable you to determine what is important, Becker said. 20 years after James Naismith nailed up the first set of peach baskets at a YMCA in Springfield, Massachusetts, Altamont High School pioneered local prep basketball with a game against a recreational men's team from Greenville. Thankfully for the future of the sport locally, the 75-11 Greenville win over coach Julian Ray's Altamont 5 was accepted for what it was: grown men taking advantage of superior physical tools to wax a group of high schoolers who had only been practicing for about 6 weeks. Becker said one notable outgrowth of that first game was the intra-city trash-talking that persists to this day. The Greenville Sun was not real happy about the game, Becker said. They felt like it was a waste of time. But the Effingham Record said they should come to Effingham and play one of our men's teams. Quote, from that inauspicious beginning, Altamont eventually fielded some of the area's finest teams. But the Indians, as they were eventually known, would not be alone. Effingham High School fielded its first basketball team in the fall of 1912. They would later become Altamont's biggest rival for many years. Other county schools eventually followed suit. Beecher City and Diederich both formed cage teams in 1917. Amazingly, given the wooden shoe tradition that has been developed over many decades, Teutopolis didn't field its first team until 1924. Not to be outdone by the public schools, St. Anthony High School fielded its first team in 1932. Becker said rivalries began to be established in the 1920s. The Effingham-Altamont District Championship game on March 3, 1925, drew more than 2,000 people to the Sparks College gym in Shelbyville. Behind the scoring of Wilbert, Feely, Adderman, Altamont pulled out a 27-26 win. Becker spent much of the rest of his presentation talking about milestones in county basketball history. For example, he noted the 1949 Teutopolis Gagers were the first county team to receive statewide recognition after winning the Paris Holiday Tournament and rising to a number 2 state ranking. 37 years later, another group of wooden shoes would become the only boys team from Effingham County to win a state basketball championship. But, as Becker noted, the shoes weren't the only shining lights on the county basketball scene. The 1956 St. Anthony Bulldogs were the first county team to reach the Sweet 16. The Bulldogs fell short in supersectional play, however, against an Edwardsville 5 that included future University of Illinois standouts Gouverneur Vaughn and Manny Jackson. The thing that struck Vaughn the most, Becker said, was not the quality of play, but last names like Seavey, Ludwig, Habs and Holscher. Vaughn remembered more than anything how odd those last names were, Becker said. While a later group of St. Anthony Bulldogs would eventually reach the Elite Eight, then played in Champaign, it was their crosstown rival Effingham Hearts that made the first appearance of any county team in the Elite Eight during the 1967-68 season. Led by a starting 5 who had all averaged in double figures the previous year, the Hearts were not seriously challenged in tournament play until the supersectional, when Belleville West took the Hearts to overtime. However, a Galesburg team with several future Division I players crushed the Hearts in the Elite Eight game. Despite the bitter end in Champaign, Becker said coach Jim Maxidon's Hearts broke through a barrier that season. That basketball team was the first team to capture the attention of a community that had been more of a football town, Becker said. The 1978 St. Anthony team was the first county school to reach the Final Four before losing to Havana in the Class A semifinals. Then came 1980 and the resurgent Effingham Hearts, led by 6'5" guard Mitch Arnold and a foreign exchange student from Germany named Uwe Blab. While Becker said the fans came to see the 7-2 Blab, Arnold was becoming the school's all-time leading scorer. Becker quoted longtime radio announcer Greg Sapp as saying the 1980 Hearts were the best high school team he had ever seen. Uwe Blab made a good team a great team, Sapp said. Blab led the Hearts to another Elite Eight appearance in 1981. The Hearts haven't been back since. The county got its only boys basketball championship in 1986, when Teutopolis rolled through the Class A state tournament to cap a 33-0 season. Becker said there's no indication the county's enthusiasm for basketball will wane anytime soon. The schools still have enthusiastic fan bases, he said. Becker said some schools may have to adjust to consolidation or a cooperative agreement with another school. That, he said, could cause identity problems for smaller area towns. A lot of towns have lost their identity after consolidation, he said. But co-ops can enable schools to streamline their programs and be more successful. Quote, Hoops sold out in its first printing, and Effingham Daily News publisher Paul Semple said a second printing is not planned at this time.